Hello and welcome to the final episode of Connected for Season 4. Tonight we go behind the scenes of the Ipswich Musical Theatre Company production of the Broadway smash Wicked. Ralph Breaden chats about the new ANZAC Memorial at Robelle Domain in Springfield. Chris McMahon, science fiction author and creator of the Jacquarian cycle, previews his latest book. And sending us out with a bang is indie pop sensations 12 past midnight. It's time to keep it local and get connected. First up today on the program, science fiction is an ever-growing genre, birthing some of the most beloved characters of all time. From Han Solo to Doctor Who, this is the genre that raised us. Joining me now on the couch is Chris McMahon, a former engineer by day, award-winning science fiction author by night. Welcome to the show, mate.
Hi, Damien. How are you?
It's great to have you here. Now, before we get on to your next book, which we'll be able to talk about, but what we really want to know is how do you go about writing science fiction?
Well, that's kind of like a how long is a piece of string type question, and it's very different for every author. But for me, the ideas usually come first. I get an idea for a character or a setting or something like that, and then I'll gradually elaborate that, and I'll work on building the world and then putting the whole plot together before I start writing.
So have you been a science fiction fan for a long time before you started writing?
Yeah, as long as I can remember, yeah. Love science fiction and fantasy, just anything in the realm of the imagination is just, yeah.
So you would have grown up on the Star Treks and all of those sorts of things?
Oh yeah, that's right, yep, Sunday afternoons, yeah, after the roast chicken, watching Captain Kirk, yeah.
Yeah, it must be exciting to be able to actually take something and really produce an entire world and characters all under the one banner.
It is, it's very exciting, it's very satisfying to actually create something like that and to think that you're bringing people into that created world.
Yeah. When did you write your first book?
My first book, I probably started that when I started engineering at university, so that would have been in the 80s.
Wow.
And a lot of these, like the stories I've had for an awfully long time, and I think the first draft, of the Calvani was 1993, I think I wrote that.
Yeah.
And then you write things and then you put them down and then you come back to them 4 or 5 years later and rewrite them again, and you kind of, well, at least for me, I tend to leapfrog between manuscripts, but gradually over a period of decades it's come together to its final form.
And of course you mentioned Calvani, but then there's been another 2 in that series, hasn't it?
That's right, yeah. Calvani was followed by Scytheman and then Sorcerer, which was the last one in the trilogy.
Right, but you're taking something, a different tack now with this new book, the Torsetti diversion.
That's right. It's an action-driven mystery, basically in a science fiction setting. So there it's hard SF.
Right.
Yeah, it's set like about 150, 200 years in the future.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's a bit like Terminator meets something else down the track.
No, this one's more kind of straight hard SF. So it's the first Earth exploration vessel. They're going outside the solar system to look for habitable planets.
Right.
And it's no NASA-funded mission. This is corporate-funded.
Ah.
Yeah, so it's about the profits of colonisation. So they head off to Torsetti, which is a system about, I think it's about 11.7 light years away from Earth, so very close in the stellar neighbourhood. And they start to run into trouble. They get hit by a wave of radiation that cripples the ship and kills most of the crew.
Right, okay. So when you're talking about all of this, I mean, already I'm suckered into the storyline. How much do you go into it and research to get the realism into it?
I do quite a bit of research, particularly on the science fiction. In fact, the Torsetti diversion has had quite a number of rewrites because what's happened in the last decade with developments in astronomy, like when I initially wrote that book, there wasn't a single planet identified outside the solar system, but now there's over 1,000 what they call exoplanets that have been identified outside the solar system. So, including the Torsetti system, they actually know 4 or 5 planets in that system that they've managed to pin down through astronomical observation. So I've had to completely rewrite the novel to fit the current science.
Okay,
Yeah.
so and it obviously helps to get those readers into it, because they believe it, don't they, when they read it?
That's right. It adds to what they call credibility. You know, when people are immersed in that story, you don't want anything jarring in there that's going to knock them out, where they're going, oh, hold on, wait a second, that doesn't sound right. Yeah, so you've got to labour hard for the smooth ride.
Of all of your stories to date, do you have a favourite?
No, not really.
It's
no,
a bit like asking your favourite child, really, isn't it?
In some ways, probably the favourite is the one that I'm actually writing new as a first draft, because that's probably the ultimate joy, is when you can just let yourself go on a completely new story and you're just sailing along, just letting the story create itself. And once you've written a first draft, that's when the real work starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, of course, the engineering's gone by the board now, but the writing keeps going.
The writing keeps going, that's right. Yeah.
Well, congratulations, mate, because looking at these characters, and the artwork's really outstanding too.
Yes, fantastic artwork by Darryl Lindquist, a local Brisbane designer. Yeah,
So you're keeping it all local, which is fantastic as well.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, all in the Brisbane community. Yeah,
Well, thank you so much for joining us, mate, and all the very best for the new one, the Torsetti diversion.
Thanks very much, Damien.
Thank you. And, of course, the Torsetti diversion is released on September the 1st. And if you'd like more information on Chris, or to purchase some of his work, you can do it all through his website, and that is chrismcmahon.net. Coming up next, we take a trip behind the scenes of the Ipswich Musical Theatre's production of Wicked. Stay with us, you're watching Connected. Welcome back to Connected. Well, what is surely going to be the theatrical highlight of the year, Wicked, is coming to the Ipswich Civic Centre this year, and the man charged with bringing this soaring score to life is the wonderful musical director, Robert Clarke. How are you,
Thank you. It's good to be here.
It's great to have you on the program, and good to see this musical coming to Ipswich.
You know, it's one of the first times in Australia it's been done by a regional company, and it's quite a phenomenal opportunity. You know, the people came from far and wide to audition for this, and we've had a wonderful response, yeah.
It must have been tough finding the orchestra initially.
Actually, no. We had lots of people apply, and then we picked up the phone, and fortunately, most of the wonderful musicians we have, I've worked with for nearly 20 years around Australia, and many of them have actually played the Wicked production.
Which was the Australian production at Cuba?
Yeah, at Cuba, yes.
What about the cast? I guess you would have had a score of people auditioning for it as well.
Yeah, I wasn't actually here for the auditions. I was actually in New York at the time, working with the Wicked company over there. But hundreds of people, well over 100, applied for 20 roles really. So we've had a wonderful. People came from all over Southeast Queensland for the opportunity, because it's such a famous show and it's a difficult show, and it's a good one to have on your resume.
Well, and of course it's such a big show as well. I mean, it is a big undertaking for a community-based theatre company.
Oh, definitely. It's just the difficulty of the music. It's not like a Sound of Music or a Oklahoma. It's actually quite strident and difficult to harmonise and memorise. And then the production values, it needs incredible lighting and sound and special effects and people flying from the roof, and wearing amazing costumes and smoke and mirrors. But it's going to come together really well. The show is very cohesive. It'll hang together really well.
You mentioned the American production. What was your involvement there?
I was a guest of the Wicked company when I was appointed to do this. I have my connections and my New York connections, so I was able to go backstage and meet the directors and sit in the orchestra pit for a couple of shows and learn how it goes and just hear what they're doing there. Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, it's such a big score as well. What about that? Is there any challenges facing the company from there?
We have 17 musicians in the pit. It's unusual. To be honest, it used to be bigger, but they've reduced some of the books down to have to be played on keyboard. So things that baritone saxophones are played on keyboard. So it's actually a bit of a handful for the keyboard players, because there's a string section, a brass section, a woodwind section, and a keyboard section. So, but we've got some wonderful live instruments to make it real.
So certainly people should expect the full-blown production when they come to see it in September.
Absolutely. This show, there's not one note not in the New York production. There's not one. In fact, our orchestra is bigger than the New York Orchestra.
Do you have a favourite song from the show?
Oh, gee, I've got a couple. There's a wonderful song called Thank Goodness, which is musically probably the most challenging. It's essentially in a 5/8 tempo, so it keeps us on our toes. Yeah, that one's a good one.
And I believe Simon Gallagher's got something, a little bit of an attraction to this show as well.
Oh, Simon and I go back a long way. I was a friend of Simon's when he was a student at the Conservatorium. In fact, I played in his first concert when I was 16, when he was 17. So there we go. He played the wizard in the QPAT production, and he was next door because I was in the concert hall conducting Pirates of Penzance with Andrew O'Keefe and co. And he said, Robert, I think you'd really enjoy this Wicked show. Would you come back and be part of it? And then the people here from Ipswich approached him to be the casting director, and he, being such a great Queenslander and a great supporter of local talent, he jumped in and he selected an amazing cast. Hats off to Simon. He's a great supporter of the community arts and theatre, and we all started in community arts and theatre.
Yeah. Well, mate, all the very best for the production. I know you're going to be shooting back to New York, then coming back, just in time for dress rehearsal.
Pretty much, yeah. Be good. Looking forward to it.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
And you can get to see this fantastic production of Wicked at the Ipswich Civic Centre this September. Make sure you book your tickets. Stay with us here on Connected. A lot more to come right after this. And welcome back to the program. Well, Springfield finally has its first memorial to Australian members of the Defence Forces. The $115,000 monument stands proudly at Robelle Domain Parklands, where more than 3,500 people attended this year's ANZAC service and 1,000 poppies were inserted into the new memorial. It was a very proud moment for my next guest, Springfield Chamber of Commerce President Ralph Breaden. Ralph, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having us.
Must have been a very auspicious occasion on ANZAC Day.
It certainly was. It's been a 2-year vision to get us to this point. A lot of people have helped us to get to this particular point, but it was well worth it at the end of the day.
Now, of course, the reason for a new memorial was that you and several members of the community had seen a very constant growth of attendances at ANZAC services.
Absolutely. I think the first one was some 400 or 500, well, probably about 100 people, to be honest. And each and every year it's been growing in numbers steadily in each and every year. So it's very pleasing to see that we had 3,500 last year, and hopefully we're hoping to get around 4,000 for next year.
Which is great, and of course those 3,500 were the first to enjoy this new memorial.
Absolutely. It took pride of place. For many, many years we haven't had anything. Now we're ecstatic with the end result.
Was it also community members calling out for this?
Very much the case. We had a very supportive council. Ipswich City Council have been fantastic. As you can see from the imagery here, to the left of the stage is where the memorial actually sits, pride of place in a major provincial park here in Ipswich, in the area. The design is quite unique in that it has the traditional sandstone base. The white jacket you can see on the front extends around the back, and it has perforated edges, and basically you can insert poppies all the way through it. As you can see from this, you've got the 3 logos representing the Defence Forces as well. And what you can't see so well from here is the lighting system, and this is its main claim to fame. That first thing in the morning before sunrise comes along, something will look slightly different in the park, and you'll see like a flickering lighting on the memorial itself. And when there's a bit of mist in the air and the bagpiper in the background, it's certainly, yes.
It's not a dry eye in the park, that's for sure.
No, a dry eye guarantee on that place this year, so if you didn't have a tear in the eye, well, you weren't Australian this year.
Yes, exactly. And it stands an impressive 10 metres high as well, doesn't it?
It does. Look, we're very happy with the result. It's designed to fit in with the other poles that are in the park. The initial designers, designed the park, and they put all these existing digital poles into place. We wanted something basically half the size of the others that fits in very well with the overall scheme and feel for the park.
Yeah, and of course that was very important to make sure that it sat and didn't stand out too much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The park's got to be in use the other 364 days of the year. So this basically, the digital pole design was the key thing.
Yeah. The lighting up is very special, something that I'm guessing is creating quite a bit of talk around Springfield as well.
And not only just in Springfield, but further afar, because if you look at the other traditional memorials got around the country, there's, you know, sandstone bases, a gentleman standing on a horse, or a general, you know, all those sort of things. We wanted something different, unique, that basically represents the young area that Springfield actually is.
Yeah.
The average age is very young, so we wanted something that would last as long as the park was in play.
And that was also a very big point that I noted. This isn't the traditional monument or memorial that we constantly see, but something that is going to have that longevity going into a more contemporary future.
Yeah, look, we went through a ton of designs in the last couple of years. With our colleagues at Ipswich City Council, we formed a separate committee. We formed a charitable trust to help us raise money and put on ANZAC Day and everything else. Everyone has been fantastic.
Yeah.
And even the community jumping on board. We have a lot of the local schools donating thousands of dollars to make this thing a reality.
And of course, one of the big contributors was Ipswich City Council.
Yeah, can't speak highly enough there. Everyone from the local council, David Morrison, to Councillor Andrew Antonelli, who came up with the design of putting the poppies into it, the life cut short significance of having it cut short at the top. Everything basically is, you know, is the whole community's come up with.
Well, Ralph, it must be an amazing sight, especially with 1,000 poppies inserted into it.
Yeah.
It certainly must have been, you know, something that certainly brought a tear to the eye.
Well, very much the case.
Yeah.
And what you can't see from the pictures that we were looking at earlier is on the back of it, there's an outline of a slouched hatch soldier. So we put rosemary in that one. So the photos, that if you go searching on our Facebook site, you'll actually see that some of the photos, you've got all the red poppies around it, but you've got the outline of a slouch hat soldier on there as well, which looks fantastic.
It sounds perfect, mate. Thank you so much for joining us and talking about this wonderful memorial.
Thanks for having us.
And congrats to all of the team at the Springfield Chamber of Commerce and many in the community for bringing this lasting memorial to those who ensured that we may live in peace. Up next, we have a fantastic music performance to take us out. New on the music scene this year is the indie pop group 12 Past Midnight. They encapsulate modern popular music and combine it into their own fun blend of blues, rock and pop. And it's my pleasure to welcome Jordan, Ryan, Alex and Aidan, who collectively are 12 Past Midnight. Guys, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Nice to meet you.
How long have you guys been formed, Aidan?
Well, we started the start of this year.
Yep.
We've played together a little bit here and there, but officially this year.
All right, and how did you all meet?
Well, through uni. Our degree is a Bachelor of Popular Music at Griffith University.
Yep.
So we kind of had to jam for assignments and stuff, and it just really melded together, I think.
And so the band was born and you thought, well, let's make a career out of this.
Yeah,
hopefully.
exactly.
Now, you have a very interesting style. How would you sort of pigeonhole it if you had to?
Well, it's changed a lot, but I would have to say like a alternative indie pop rock. Yeah, there's we take a lot of influences from bands such as The Last Dinosaurs, 1975, and the Wombats, for example. But
Yep.
yeah.
Were those sort of bands that you grew up with as you were coming up?
Well, actually, the whole band kind of has a very different musical taste. It's really interesting, actually, because we kind of all bring our own individual styles to the music.
But that's what makes it a very eclectic sound.
Yeah,
then, doesn't
exactly,
it? Because it's a bit of a combination.
Yeah.
What's been your favourite gig so far?
Actually, probably one recently. I played, we played.
Sorry guys, you're just going out solo already.
It was at Night Quarter in Helensvale, just Gold Coast area.
Yep.
Yeah, it was pretty big, nice crowd. We kind of tried out a new song in it and got a good response. So yeah, it was a really fun gig.
So is that where you are trying what works, what doesn't before you start recording?
Yeah, to an extent. We kind of write songs, maybe try it out at a gig, and generally we kind of see the response and kind of change it up a bit before we record it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do you see you guys in the next 12 months, 2 years?
Worldwide. No, I'm not. Well, we're just trying to get really professional sounding material out there.
Yep.
And we're trying to do it all properly by booking shows, tours, getting a good recording down, finding artwork, and just really trying to find our art direction in a way, so we can kind of just, keep it that way.
And don't you find it easier? I mean, 20 years ago, you'd had to have a record label pick you up and all that. Now with the internet and online social forums, you can really market yourselves, can't you?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of a double-edged sword though, because while it's easier to get out there, there's a lot more people out there at the same time. Yeah. But I think it's a good thing for us.
Yeah.
We're trying promotion through a lot of different things. So.
And that's all you can really do, isn't it? And just push it out there and hopefully it takes.
Hope for the best, yeah.
All right, well, it sounds as though you guys are going to have a fantastic time together, and you're a great bunch of guys to have fun with, because we know we've been in the studio with you for some time now. So what we might do is we might get you guys to perform a song for us, and you're going to do which song?
Dazed.
Dazed,
Yeah.
all right. So what we might do is we might get you guys to wander over to our performance space, get yourselves set up, and we'll hear from you very shortly.
Sweet.
All right,
Thanks.
take it over there, guys. And to bring the final Connected show of Season 4 to a close, would you please welcome Brisbane-based indie pop group 12 Past Midnight with Dazed.
Tell me that your love is mine too. Can play this game in double time. We know this ain't something we can live by. Something we can live by. Oh, every time I make a move closer, yet I'm still confused. Am I getting anywhere with you? With you?
Fantastic. That was 12 Past Midnight and Dazed. And for more details on them, you can head to their Facebook page, facebook.com/12 Past Midnight. And watch out for an EP coming soon, I'm sure. And that about wraps up this season as well. Thank you so much for joining us. I've certainly had a great time meeting some incredible people from the local community. And if you'd like to know more information on any of our guests we've had over the season, or you'd like to catch up on an episode you might have missed, then head over to our Facebook page or check out connectedtv.com.au and look out too for Season 5 coming very soon. I'll leave you now with some highlights from this season of Connected, and I'll be sure to see you all again next time. Until then, from the entire team, bye for now.